is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about why I bought a Mark 7 GTI over all of its competitors. This is going to be like the third take of this because my original two takes, I talked about them in individual models, and I think that's just too time consuming, and I want to keep this video kind of short because, you know, we don't need to do a 20-minute video about each car individually, why I didn't buy them, right? So we're going to talk about why I picked this car over its competitors. You know, cars like the Audi S3, the Golf R, the A3, the Focus ST, and all that stuff, and why I came to the conclusion I wanted the GTI. And I talked already about how this car showed up. This car fell into my lap out of nowhere. I'll talk about the full, like, you know, I've talked already about that kind of, I think I've even told the full story, but for those who want to recap, I went to Jim Ellis Volkswagen in Kennesaw with the intentions to order either a Mark 8 Golf R or a Mark 8 GTI. Now, neither of those worked out because the Golf R order windows were closed a long time ago, and the Mark 8 GTIs were not going to be showing up at the dealership. At least if I got on the list right then and there, they wouldn't have showed up until June or July, or I think August or something like that. And I needed the car by March. That was kind of my goal, was to be able to be, you know, driving the car home in March. But they came back, were like, you know, we'll work out this deal for you. We have a couple of Mark 7 GTIs. Take a look at them, and that's how this showed up. They had a Mark 7.5 that was stick, and then they had this one, which was DSG. And of course, obviously, I went with the DSG car, and you know, that's how that worked out. So this car fell in my lap. It happened 2 months faster than I was originally intending to look. So yeah, if you guys didn't see the full video already, go check that out to get the full introduction to this car, the walk around, the story of where it came from, all that stuff. But anyway, let's talk about why I picked the GTI. So, first things first, a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, it's a German car, it's built like garbage, it's going to break every 5 seconds, it's going to be expensive to fix. Now, the GTI, the Mark 7 in particular, is probably one of the most reliable cars Volkswagen has ever made. The research I've done is just, it's been built very well. Now, of course, it's not perfect. No car is perfect. You're never going to have a car that's not going to have a signature character flaw. The sport tracks were timing chain failures and thermostat housings. This car behind the camera, the Kia Spectra 5, power steering failures. We've had multiple power steering pumps on that car. Cruises and Equinoxes are known for transmission trouble. The 3.7 Mustangs also have water pump troubles, at least with my dad's. And so it's become kind of this thing that all cars have character flaws, and no car is going to be perfect with zero flaws whatsoever. It's just not going to happen. And of course, I know this car is going to be expensive to maintain. One, because it's a DSG, and two, because it's a Euro, and Euro cars are probably the worst in terms of maintenance costs. Now, of course, I didn't buy a BMW or an Audi or a Mercedes or, you know, anything beyond that in terms of exoticness like a Porsche, but my goal was a Porsche. My goal was to, you know, get a really solid car, and I think I did that. The GTI, the Mark 7, is improved beyond what the Mark 4 and the Mark 5 and the Mark 3 and all those older ones that have a bit more character flaws than a Mark 7. This car has evolved to be actually pretty reliable. Now, I've heard, of course, DSG clutches get worn out, and, you know, water pumps are still an issue in Mark 7s, but outside of that, it's like I really haven't seen anything that's really scared me away from obviously why I bought one. Now, of course, it's going to be expensive to maintain. It's a German car. It's just unfortunate. The unfortunate part about owning a car that's not Japanese or American, or even Korean. I think Kias and Hyundais are actually a lot cheaper to service than this. So yeah, I know going ahead, before people make their snobby comments about my new car, I knew all of the risks going into this. I assumed the risks, but anyway, this is why I chose the GTI. So we're going to start off with the transmission side of things. For those who didn't know, this car is equipped with the automatic transmission. It's a 6-speed. I believe it is the DQ250 DSG transmission. Really solid trends. I love this transmission. I'm still getting used to the dual clutch launch, which, if you don't know how dual clutch works, it's an automated manual. So it will let out a clutch like a stick shift car. It has 2 clutches, one controlling odd number gears, one controlling even number gears. And so it's a really weird setup, but it allows for stupid fast shifts, and it's extremely simple compared to even a torque converter automatic. It's just building a manual that's controlled by a computer. Now, of course, other cars had single clutch, you know, transmissions, which were even closer to manuals than these are, but this car is pretty much just an automated stick shift. It's closer to a manual than a torque converter automatic is. And I went with that trans because of the fact that I drive in downtown Atlanta. For those who, you know, I'm sure everyone in the U.S. knows how bad Atlanta traffic is. It's infamous. And so I wanted something where I wouldn't get home like, oh, my leg, you know, like the SpongeBob episode, you know. And so I was like, I need to have the auto. And so a lot of the other competitors don't offer automatics in the segment. You know, the Focus ST, the Fiesta ST, the Civic Si, the Type R. I mean, all those cars don't offer automatics. And the two cars in particular from Japan that do, the WRX and the Evo, they're not great transmissions. The WRX rocks a CVT, for crying out loud, and the Evo rocks a dual clutch that is notoriously built crap. I mean, it is not built very well. So obviously those cars would be stick cars for me. And I was just like, you know, I need a dual clutch that's also reliable and has been tried and true. I mean, the DSG has been proven really well to be a really good trans. So that's why I went with it. And I'm not looking back at all on that. As far as the rest of it goes, the main thing was price point. The other hot hatches that were in this price point, like the Veloster N, or not in this price point, but other hot hatches available in the US, Veloster N for particular reasons. That I've already filmed this car. I enjoyed the Veloster N a lot. This just was a little bit above what I was willing to spend. This car was right on the money what I was looking to spend. After dealer fees, it was 26. So it was $1,000 over my original budget, and that was after all the fees and stuff were tacked on. So the car came out exactly what I wanted in terms of price. The Veloster N was just a little bit too expensive for me with the dual clutch. If I got a manual one, I could probably be in the similar ballpark to this car. If I got one that had a bit more mileage than this one does. This car, for reference, has 28,000 miles on it, so 230 less than the Sport Track, but you know, it's pretty good shape. All in all, I think the main thing was just price point. I mean, the Civic Type R, same story. Not only is it, you know, almost $40,000, but it's a stick shift only car, whereas this again has the automatic that I was looking for. The only car that I really cross shopped with this with in terms of apples to apples was the Veloster N, but the Veloster N is more expensive. And of course, I looked at other Volkswagens. I looked at the Jetta GLI in particular. It was another car I strongly considered. But the main thing is that the Jetta GLI is a bit dumbed down from the GTI in terms of the driving dynamics. It is not by any means a bad car. It is, you know, a lot of people compare it directly to this car. But in terms of the suspension and steering and all that, it's a little bit dumbed down from the GTI. And that's part of why I didn't choose it, is because of that alone. And I just like hatchbacks. So that was the main thing, is I wanted a hatchback, and I just wanted the tighter, more sporty steering that the GTI offers versus the GLI. And then another car that I didn't even know existed until recently was the Passat GT. And I actually really liked this car. It has the 3.6 VR6 in it. I'm a big VR6 fanboy, so of course I was like, a new VR6 car, okay. And it has the DSG transmission as well. I think it actually was the 7-speed as well as the updated trans. And it looks like such a good offer. I mean, the car made Golf R power. It was still front-wheel drive, had a lot of luxury features, and I mean, it was a VR6 with a DSG, and it's just like perfect for me, right? I love the VR6, I love the DSG. All in all, I was like, oh, I'm sold. But the issue is there's no aftermarket to that car, unfortunately. There was no like suspension upgrades, there's no cosmetic stuff that I liked. It was just zero performance. I mean, there wasn't even intakes for those cars I could find, so it sucked. I really liked the Passat GT. In fact, the dealer I bought this car from has one, and who knows, maybe if I wound up having to go back up there anytime soon, I may try to see if they would be willing to let me do a video with it and just talk about it, because I just feel like it's a very slept on VW platform. Maybe it needs some recognition. But yeah, I mean, I looked at a lot of cars, and the main reason I picked this was the automatic. The styling is good, the performance is there, long-term reliability is really solid on these cars. The aftermarket, my gosh, GTIs are infamous for their reliability, and not the reliability, but you know, their performance side of things are aftermarket. I mean, these cars can go well up to 500 horsepower on a stop block. I mean, Gen 3 is like this car. This car, having to be in the Mark 7, has the Gen 3 version of the 2-liter, which has dual injection, has port and direct injection. I mean, this car has it all in terms of what you want. I mean, you only have to do a high-pressure fuel pump and intake and an intercooler, and you're able, and then of course a turbo upgrade, of course, and you'll be making 400 plus horsepower. And so there's not really a lot to say or bad about GTIs in terms of all the stuff they offer. All in all, I'm happy with this car. So that's why I picked the Mark 7 GTI. Really good performance, really good aftermarket, really good reliability. It's ticked all the boxes, had all the features. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, guys.